Hey guys, it is me, it is TK Barlow from the Barlow Group Tax and Accounting Firm. So listen, so I hope that you are having a good day. I hope that you are getting ready for this upcoming tax season. I hope that you are tax time ready, right? That's what we like to say, get tax time ready. But I hope everything is going well for you. So I wanted to just really come on quickly and give you a few tips to look out for when you're trying to choose a good tax preparer. Because I get the stories every year, and every year they get worse and worse, with people, legitimate people, having businesses, and they're looking for someone, they're trying to trust in someone to handle their financials. And so, we have taxpayers that are looking for their person, they're paying them, but then they come to realize either their taxes were never filed or they were filed incorrectly. And then you have to pay someone else to go behind the person who messed it up to try to fix everything. And so, to try to get ahead of the game, I want to kind of give you guys some tips. Either you can use these tips for yourself, you can pass them on to other people, but just be aware of, the red flags when it comes to having someone take care of your financials. And something else that I want to say is this: sometimes you have to be mindful of what you pay, because again, the saying that says you get what you pay for. And so oftentimes, if that price is just really too good to be true, then it's probably really too good to be true, right? So you want to do a little bit more digging. Okay, so I have a couple of tips for you to kind of keep in mind when you're trying to find someone to handle your tax preparations. All right. So all of these tips are according to the IRS. All right. So it's legitimate. Okay. So the first thing you want to do is to ask about the service fees. Okay. So if they're telling you that they're basically going to give you a percentage of whatever your tax refund is going to be, then that is a big red flag, because that's not okay with the IRS. So they can't be like, okay, well, I'll get out, my fee is basically based on what you're going to get back. So if they say, okay, well, what if you get back, $5,000, and I'll take 20% of that. No, that's not legit. That's not okay with the IRS. And so you want to make sure that they're able to give you, your fees up front, and let you know, okay, this is how much I charge. Some preparers charge a flat rate. Some of them charge per form that they would need to file on your behalf. And so just make sure that they're able to really convey whatever that tax filing prep fee is going to be. Okay. And so you can definitely ask that and say, I want to know what my fees are going to be. Okay. So another thing is you want to be aware of is to ask if they're going to e-file, because depending on what time of year you go, like if it's past the e-filing date, then it may not be able to be e-filed. But if it's during regular tax season, they should definitely be able to e-file that for you, unless it's like a different type of circumstance. But normally, routinely, they should be able to e-file. So you want to ask that, get a clear understanding, and say, hey, is my tax filing going to be e-filed, or are you going to mail it? Because it definitely makes a difference. Okay. And then you want to be able to choose, you have the option to have your refund direct deposited, or if you want to mail it. So these are the type of questions that you really need to ask, and make sure that everything is clear and upfront. Okay. And then another thing is this, because I get a lot of stories about, taxpayers go and they have their taxes filed. Then they may have a question, or it may be an issue. And then when they go back to actually find the preparer, or they go back, to call the preparer, they can't find them. They can't get a hold to them. And so you want to ask and make sure, hey, if I ever need any help, or if I have any questions, are you going to be available after tax season? Are you going to be available after the 15th? Can I get a hold of, would I be able to contact you? Because you want to have someone that, especially if you are an entrepreneur, you want to have someone that you can contact year round, not just during tax season. And that's not necessarily a totally bad thing, because a lot of tax preparers also work only seasonal. So you want to just be aware if you're working with a tax preparer that's only seasonal, or if they're going to be available year round. So that's another question that you should definitely ask. Can I contact you outside of tax season? Because that's going to make a difference. Okay. And then also know that a good tax preparer is going to ask you for your tax records. They're going to ask you for your receipts. They're going to ask you for all of those things that they need, because they have to figure out that total income. They have to look at your tax deductions and your credits. And so you don't want to, as a business owner, you don't want to work with someone if they're not going to help you try to maximize, your tax credits and really get you back um a good amount of, whatever that those taxes are going to look like, if you're going to break even. But you want to get that tax liability down as much as possible. So you want to work with someone that is asking you for all of your records. And I know, it gets a little frustrating at times when we have to go back to you and say, hey, can you check this for me? Can you send this over? But it's really needed, and it's really necessary in order to really break down any tax liability that you could possibly be facing. And so that is a good sign of a tax preparer, someone that is asking you, okay, can you send me over your bank statements? Can you send me over your past your past tax filings? So you want someone that is going to be asking you all of those questions. If they're not asking you those questions, especially if you are a business owner, that tax preparer is not asking you for your previous tax records or statements or your P&L, then that's the red flag. So you need to do a little bit more digging, okay? Um, and then also, if they do not sign the return, like, you want to make sure that whoever is preparing your taxes, you want to make sure there's a signature on that, okay? Because if anything ever happened, then it would not fall back on them. It will basically fall back on you. And so you want to make sure that they're taking that responsibility that you're paying them for. You're paying them to process your taxes, right? And so you don't want to have anything come back and then they're not held accountable, or you're not able to like ask them and say, hey, you prepared my taxes, and so can you answer the questions about this, whatever the problem is. So you want to make sure that you look at that and ensure that they have signed your return, like on the final whatever is going to be submitted to the IRS. You want to make sure that their signature is on that, or whoever has prepared those taxes, okay? And then before you sign, the IRS states that you should ask questions. All right. So, one thing that happened to me in my first business, I had an issue because I did not ask the proper questions that I should have been asking, because, I didn't want to feel like, if I'm a business owner, you feel like you should know everything. And that's not how that is supposed to go. Okay. So don't feel intimidated or don't feel shy about asking questions, because again, there is no stupid question when you're not necessarily in that field. You're an entrepreneur, you're selling your products, you're selling your services. So you may not know everything there is to file within your business, or what tax deductions you can take and cannot take. So you have to be able to ask questions, and you want to ask the questions before you sign your taxes, okay? Because once you sign it and they send it, it's gone, and then you have to do an amendment. And so any questions that you need to ask, you want to be able to feel comfortable with that tax preparer, okay? So find someone that you feel comfortable with, that you're able to ask, any kind of questions that you may have, all right? And so you also want to review the details of your refund. So if you're having a tax preparer basically take your information, send you an email, or give you a call and say, hey, this is your refund, or this is what you owe, but they're not giving you a review, then that could be a red sign too, a red flag as well, because you want to be able to sit with someone or, do a Zoom. Within our firm. We do a Zoom with everyone and we go over the tax filing thoroughly. Okay. So we're going over each line so that you have a good understanding of what's happening within your taxes. Okay. So some of those are, just a couple of tips for you to look out for. And if you have been, kind of like um, experienced a tax preparer that has been dishonest, or that have like done some things that wasn't proper etiquette, then there is a way that you can report any type of tax fraud, or any kind of things that were not okay. Like, you can definitely report that to the IRS. You can go to the IRS website. It's irs.gov, and just kind of like go through it and find, it's a form that you can do to file a complaint. And so just be aware and just be mindful, because after all, this is like something that is um it directly affects your pockets, right? And so you don't want to be with someone that is going to not have your best interest at hand. So just be mindful of these tips again going forward. And if you need a new tax preparer, again, we are accepting clients for this upcoming year. And so we would love to talk to you. Or if you just need a consultation, you just want to have someone to review your last year's taxes, we're able to do that. We're able to do that as well. So I'll put a link below. You can definitely contact me and get on our calendar. And meanwhile, cheers to your success, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.